Yo, what's up YouTube? Alex here, and in this video, I'm super excited. I'm gonna be explaining to you the betting strategy, the sports betting strategy that I started with. It's called arbitrage betting. You'll see a ton of people talking about arbitrage betting on social media. It's a hidden gem. The sports books, they don't want you to know about it. And I know this sounds too good to be true, but you gotta bear with me. Go through some examples. I'll explain the strategy to you. I thought it was too good to be true at first, but arbitrage betting is a way to take the risk out of gambling. You're basically day trading the sports books to ensure that regardless of what happens, you're making money. You're making risk-free profits with arbitrage betting. So even though it seems like this is BS, this is a scam, you know, you'll see people on social media posting calendars of arbitrage betting and they've won, they've made money every single day of the month. It's not too good to be true. You just got to put in the work to learn and, you know, kind of get an understanding of arbitrage, give it a try, and you'll see the results start to stack up. Okay, so basically arbitrage betting is really simple, really simple. All sportsbooks, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, there's hundreds of sportsbooks at this point, you know, in the United States. They all want to be unique, so they all set their own odds. And by that I mean like the odds on FanDuel are not the same as the odds on BetMGM or DraftKings. All these books set their own odds. So essentially, as an arbitrage bettor, there's millions of odds and possibilities, things you can bet on all these sports books. You know, maybe FanDuel has 100,000 lines up at any given time, DraftKings another 100,000. So arbitrage is just when two sports books get super out of sync, so out of sync that you can hedge to make a risk-free profit, to guarantee a profit. So you can bet the over on FanDuel, the under on DraftKings, and guarantee a risk-free profit. That's arbitrage betting. And without further ado, let's kind of get into how to start arbitrage betting. So this video is really an introduction to arbitrage for beginners, and kind of the first thing is, why should you arbitrage bet? Why should you use this betting strategy? There's a ton of options. As a sports bettor, you can find bets on your own. You can pay for picks, all these different things. The truth is, nothing can guarantee you winning every single day except arbitrage betting. And that's what appealed to me at first. I mean, I was a trader and I was living in Pennsylvania, so a ton of sports books started to launch. Pennsylvania was one of the first states in the US to legalize, to allow online sports betting. A ton of sports books came in, so, you know, naturally I was like, oh, I wonder if I can make some money here. So I started doing a ton of research on how do pro bettors, how do sharp bettors, how do people actually make money? Right? Nobody sees the future. Lakers money line is a lock. Buying picks is BS. Like, I'm a pretty data-driven person, so long story short, what I came across was arbitrage. This is a way where you can make a guaranteed profit betting the over on one book, the under on another book, right? You're hedging to ensure a win. You know, I come from a background in trading and markets, so arbitrage was a word I knew. But one thing I want to be clear about is, even though there's a little bit of a learning curve to arbitrage, you know, maybe it takes some time, some examples, and a little bit of initial work signing up for sportsbooks so you can start arbitrage betting. Anybody can do this. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. It's really simple. All you're doing is placing two bets. You are hedging to guarantee a risk-free profit, and it's all possible because all of these sportsbooks set their own odds. So I started arbitrage betting. That was the only betting strategy I used, and I made like $40,000 profit in my first 3 months sports betting. And again, why did I like it? I just left college, I was starting my career, and I didn't really want to be betting tens of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars on random games, right? I didn't want the risk. I wanted to make insured, guaranteed profits, and the only way to do that is with arbitrage betting. So the first thing I want to mention is, I said earlier that as an arbitrage bettor, all you're doing is hedging. You're betting the over on one book, the under on a different book to ensure a risk-free profit. So the first step to being a great arbitrage bettor is you need to sign up for every possible sports book in your state, right? For example, let's take the extreme. Let's say you only use one sports book, FanDuel. Well, arbitrage betting isn't going to be possible, right? As an arbitrage bettor, you're always placing two bets: the over on one book, the under on another book. Equal and opposite outcomes. Or, Cavs plus 9.5, Warriors minus 9.5. You're always betting equal and opposite outcomes, so you need at least two sports books. So when, sports betting first legalized in Pennsylvania, I signed up for all 10 in my state, all 10 books that were available: BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel. The more books you use as an arbitrage bettor, the better, right? Like what I always say is having more sports books means more arbitrage opportunities, and that means more profit at the end of the day for you, right? Sometimes there's a ton of great arbitrage opportunities on FanDuel. Other times there's not so many, and all of the good arbitrage opportunities are on DraftKings or BetMGM. So the more sports books you use, the better, right? I recommend any sports book you can get your hands on, sign up for. Most of these sports books, especially in the US, I don't know where you're watching this video from, but most of these books have pretty lucrative sign-up bonuses, right? These sports books are super regulated, your money's safe, so you might as well sign up for them and, get the free $100 deposit match here, $1,000 deposit match, $500 deposit match. Most of these books, they're all in ruthless competition for new customers. So most of these books literally pay you money. They have lucrative sign-up bonuses for you just to sign up. So the first key to being a successful arbitrage bettor, if you want to make tens of thousands of dollars risk-free with this strategy every single month, you're gonna need to be using multiple sports books. Get every single one in your state. BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel, every single one you should be using. Okay, so that's kind of the first pro tip I have. Is a lot of people will ask me, they'll DM me on Twitter, hey, I want to start arbitrage betting. Can I just use FanDuel and DraftKings? And my first question is, can you sign up for a few more sports books? Betway, Bet365, BetMGM. What other books do you have access to that you can sign up for? Because the more books you use, more arbitrage opportunities, more money in your pocket. So the reason arbitrage betting is amazing, the reason I love it, a ton of people on social media use this strategy, they get big results with it. What's attractive about it is it's risk-free profits. Now, again, the first thing you're gonna need to do is you need to be using multiple sports books. FanDuel, DraftKings, every single book in your state you should sign up for. Again, most of these books have pretty lucrative sign-up bonuses. I've used over 50 sports books at this point. More books, more profit potential because there's more arbitrage opportunities. The second thing I wanted to mention is when I started arbitrage betting, and what I recommend to anybody who wants to try out this betting strategy is don't bet a lot of money, right? Like if you're just starting to bet on sports or use a bunch of sports books, arbitrage bet, whatever, try arbitrage betting for, $10, $5, just get the feel for it. Who cares? Even if you're only making 10 cents risk-free on an arbitrage opportunity, you'll start to get the hang of it. You'll see your profit grow, and from there you can ramp up your unit size. I see a ton of people on social media hitting big arbitrage bets, making $50 risk-free, $80 risk-free, and that's amazing. But when you're starting out as a new arbitrage bettor, if you're kind of new to arbitrage betting, my personal recommendation and what I personally did, when I started arbitrage betting, is just bet small amounts of money, $5 here, $5 there, get a sense for how quickly these sportsbooks update odds, stuff like that. The one thing to mention is when you're arbitrage betting, right, you got to move fast. You can't wait for 2 hours. Right? Like what I mean by that is arbitrage, if you think about it, it's when two sports books are messing up their lines. At least one book is messing up their odds, right? Arbitrage is when two sports books have such different odds that you can hedge, bet the over on one book, under on another book, and make a risk-free profit. These are market inefficiencies. So they're not going to last for 5 hours. I mean, sometimes the best arbitrage opportunities that make $80, $100 risk-free profit, those things are moving pretty quick. So you need to know how to navigate these sports books, which is why I recommend when you start out arbitrage betting, just start with small amounts of money. And also, I mean, part of it is, who cares if a line moves? If you're just getting started arbitrage betting, don't get discouraged. I mean, there will be sports books who adjust their odds. You know, these market inefficiencies go away. So you're not going to be able to lock in every single arbitrage bet. And that's fine, right? Like, who cares? If you're arbitrage betting, and let's say every opportunity is making you $10 risk-free profit, you don't have to hit every single one. Even if you only hit 6 arbitrage opportunities, let's say in an hour, each one for $10 profit, that's $60 risk-free profit, right? That's not bad. I mean, hopefully you're able to hit more and you're able to find juicier arbitrage plays than just making $60 in an hour. But you get the point, is like, you don't need to lock in all of these plays to make money. Each arbitrage bet means you're making risk-free money, so the more the better. And that's kind of another thing to mention. Some people will ask me, how many arbitrage bets should I place in a day? And the answer is always, well, if you use a ton of sports books, you should place every possible arbitrage bet. They're all free money, right? What's amazing about arbitrage betting is compounding. You know, like in general, sometimes it's different for maybe the NFL where games are a few days away. But when you're arbitrage betting NBA, NHL, MLB, you're betting college basketball, you're betting on games in general that are that day, right? So let's say you find an arbitrage opportunity between FanDuel and DraftKings and you're making $20 risk-free profit. The second that game ends, you're $20 richer. Right? It's not like you're tying up your money for a long time. It's different if for the 2028 presidential election you find an arbitrage opportunity, but in general, you're getting your money back later that day. So my recommendation is deploy your bankroll, hit as many arbitrage bets as possible. All that money is coming back to you, right? Maybe some arbitrage bets make $30 profit, some only $5. You find some bangers that pay $70 risk-free profit where 2 books are super out of sync. At the end of the day, you tally everything up. You hit 10 arbitrage bets. The average profit was $15. You made $150 risk-free profit in that night. You just got to put in the work, right? There's tons of arbitrage opportunities every single day. You'll see people on social media making tens of thousands of dollars each and every month with arbitrage betting. You just need to put in the work to find these opportunities and take advantage of them before the lines move. The more time you put in, the more money you're going to make with arbitrage betting. And again, $150 risk-free every single day, 30 days in a month, that's $4,500 risk-free in a month, which is pretty insane if you think about it. These are risk-free profits, right? Like, even if you just hit 2 arbitrage bets in a night that are $80 risk-free profit, like you can see right here with this arbitrage opportunity from Arbfather, 2 arbitrage bets for $80 risk-free profit, that's $160 guaranteed profit. You have no risk. You don't care who wins, who loses, what happens to a player. It doesn't matter. You're making money regardless. That's what's crazy about arbitrage betting. $160, I mean, you can do the math. Over the course of a month, of a year, it builds up really quickly, and you have no risk. You don't have to sweat games, none of that. And that's what's so amazing about arbitrage betting. So again, if you're starting to arbitrage bet, you know, a few tips. 1, you got to be using multiple sports books. 2, you know, again, it can be a little discouraging if an arbitrage opportunity moves on you, a sportsbook adjusts the odds, but put in the time, be patient, you know, start to get the feel for it. Start out with smaller bet sizes, really learn, okay, which of these sportsbooks is adjusting odds, you know, the fastest. I mean, I have some helpful tips, which I'll share in this video, but again, like, you know, I haven't lived in every state, every country, so I don't know the ins and outs of every single sports book. FanDuel, DraftKings, obviously I know. But long story short, you know, use multiple sports books, practice with smaller bet sizes, get a feel, and you don't have to lock in every arbitrage opportunity to make money. And number 3, try to lock in as many arbitrage bets as you can every single day. 10 bets, $10 risk-free profit, $100 risk-free profit. That's $3K a month in guaranteed profit. You're not even risking anything. You're just putting in the time. It really is in sports betting. There's very simple, sharp, data-driven strategies that make money like arbitrage betting. Once you learn arbitrage betting, it's simply a game of hustle. What is your work ethic, right? There are people who make $1,000 a month risk-free profit with arbitrage, and there's people who have made $30,000 a month risk-free profit with arbitrage. It's simply a question of how many sportsbooks do you use, how much time are you putting in, and are you able to navigate these sportsbooks quickly? So, without further ado, I'm going to run through some examples of arbitrage bets. Hopefully you find it helpful and kind of show you how you can use the OddsJam sports betting software, which is just data. It just reads in odds from the, hundreds of sports books in the US, points out these arbitrage opportunities. So I'm going to kind of show you how to implement arbitrage betting, exactly what you need to be doing. And then we can kind of go from there. I have some other pro tips, stuff like that. So what I wanted to do is just kind of show you the OddsJam arbitrage tool, how it works, and exactly how you can use this tool to make risk-free profits, guaranteed profits. So you can see currently, you can set your state. So I have my state set to New York. And what I currently have selected is just all New York sports books. I mean, obviously, if you don't use any of these sports books, you can filter them out. So, for example, if we don't want to see FanDuel arbitrage plays, I can just remove FanDuel. But long story short, essentially the way this tool works is it reads in odds from FanDuel, DraftKings, 200 plus sportsbooks. OddsJam, the arbitrage tool, is updating, quite literally millions and millions and millions of odds every single second. So if you look at FanDuel, just as an example, this is one NFL game. Just how many lines are available? There's limitless stuff you can bet. And all these sportsbooks set their own odds. So OddsJam is just reading in all this data and then showing you, hey, here's where two sportsbooks are so messed up that you can guarantee a risk-free profit. So, what I figured was helpful is maybe let's just start out going through an example. So this one's on Saquon Barkley, longest rush. So Saquon Barkley, longest rush. And this arbitrage opportunity is between SportZeno and BetMGM. Do I like either of the sports books? Whatever. I don't really care. If there's money to make on them, I'll use them. So again, arbitrage, two books, so out of sync, you can make a risk-free profit. So SportZeno has the over on Saquon Barkley. I actually have the sports book pulled up so we can take a look. Right here, if I go to the Eagles-Commanders game and I go to all and I type in, longest rush. Is there a longest rush? Here it is. Right, you can see right here, Saquon Barkley. It's actually a little different, minus 110. But regardless, you get the point. It's way different from BetMGM, which has this line at minus 150. So these two books are so out of sync that you can bet on Saquon's over at minus 109 on SportZeno, bet his under on BetMGM at plus 115 and make a risk-free profit. So what you'll notice on OddsJam is they have this feature, click to go to this bet on BetMGM. So this is called one-click bet. And basically, if I click it, what you're going to see is it takes me right to the bet. It just auto reads it in to help you be faster, because I've explained that being fast in arbitrage betting is really critical. You never know, when these books are going to adjust their odds. So not all sports books have this option, but if you see this little bet button, you can click that and it will take you directly to the wager, which makes arbitrage betting easier. So the first thing is we need to figure out how much to bet, right? How much do we want to bet? So what you want to do is go to the far side here and click this little calculator. This is called a hedge calculator or an arbitrage calculator. It will pre-populate some numbers, but let's just say on SportZeno, on Saquon Barkley, let me actually change these odds because for some reason, maybe they have slightly different odds from state to state. They have this at minus 110. Let's say I want to bet, $1,000 on SportsZeno. So I want to play is over at minus 1,000. What this calculator, this hedge calculator, arbitrage calculator is going to tell me is, hey, bet 887.95 on BetMGM, and you're going to make a risk-free profit of $21.14, right? Because these two books have such different pricing, such different odds. I mean, literally out of the millions and millions of odds across sportsbooks, arbitrage opportunities are pretty rare, right? Let's say there's 1 million odds across sportsbooks, only 0.1% are arbitrage opportunities. You can see right here for all the sportsbooks in New York, granted it's late at night, but there's not a ton of opportunities, right? There's only, a few right here, but they're always coming, they're always going as sportsbooks release odds, injuries, market movements, stuff like that. But long story short, this is clearly a pretty good one. So let's go back here. Let me pull up the hedge calculator. So let's go here, minus 110. And let's say I put $1,000. The calculator is going to tell me, hey, on BetMGM, bet 887.95. So I can put that into MGM. But what I personally recommend doing is just round your bet sizes. I mean, you don't want to sketch out these sports books. So I recommend maybe round this to $890, which is exactly what I did here. So I can actually kind of zoom in and we can go through the math very quickly, right? Like, I want to prove to you that this wager would be making risk-free money. You bet the over on SportsZeno at minus 110 for $1,000. You go to BetMGM, you bet the under for $890. Again, I recommend rounding the bet size. So now let's just kind of go through, how does this make you $21 risk-free profit, all just for clicking a few buttons? I mean, you can see there's a bunch of arbitrage opportunities. You could lock in as many as you wanted to. So let's kind of go through it, right? So on SportsZeno, we took Saquon longest rush over 21.5 for $1,000 at minus 110 odds. So basically, if Saquon goes over, and we're going to make money if he goes over or under. Arbitrage is a risk-free betting strategy, day trading the sports books when they get super out of sync. If Saquon goes over on SportsZeno, I mean, you can even see maybe the formula that I put into Google Excel or Google Sheets, 1,000 times 100 over 110. That's just your profit if you bet $1,000 at minus 110 odds, right? It's $909.09. So if Saquon goes over, his longest rush is 22 yards or more. Only one of these bets can win. He's either going to go over or under. If he goes over on SportsZeno, I make $909. And then on BetMGM, right, I rounded this to $890. I'm going to lose $890. So I win one bet, I lose one bet. That's always the case with arbitrage, but I end up $1909 profit. Right? I make $909 here, I lose $890 here. Now, on the other hand, if he goes under, I lose the $1,000 I bet on SportsZeno. I rounded this to $890. So on BetMGM, I make $890, right? This is plus 115 odds. So on BetMGM, if I actually switch this to $890, you can kind of see I make $1350 total, but that includes my stake of $890. So my profit is just $890 times 1.15, and that's $1,023.50. So here, if he goes under, I'd actually slightly prefer that. My net profit is going to be $23.50. So long story short, it doesn't matter. If Saquon goes over or under, I'm making a risk-free profit of about $20. The second the game ends, all I have to do, it takes 20 seconds of work. This line is still available. Go to BetMGM, place your bet. Go to SportsZeno, place your bet. By the time the game ends in a couple days, I'm up roughly $20 in risk-free profit. So then what I recommend doing is you can just click the refresh button. You can see there's a ton of arbitrage opportunities on a bunch of different sports books. I will say the one thing to mention is for these exchanges, they're called exchanges. So this one right here is called Novig. They tell you exactly how much you can bet. So like, for example, on this Travis Kelce arbitrage bet, BetMGM has this has his over at minus 125. Novig is super different. They have him at plus 110. Novig, if you look at my phone, the top left corner, they tell me, hey, you can bet up to $7,500, 7, 5, 1, 6, 22. So if I wanted to, I could play this on Novig for 7, 5, 1, 6, 22, and I'd make a risk-free profit of 183.32. If I were able to place this, some sports books won't allow a bet this big, but if I'm able to bet, $8,000 on BetMGM on the under, I'll make a risk-free profit at, 8,100, whatever. I'll make a risk-free profit of about, 183, whatever. But long story short, I think it's helpful to kind of go through the math when you start arbitrage betting of the arbitrage plays you're locking in. See how much risk-free profit you're making. Hey, if he goes over or under, what's my profit going to be on both sports books? What's my net profit going to be? It's super helpful when you're starting to arbitrage bet. And again, the more books you use, kind of the better. There's hundreds of sports books out there. You can see all the ones I currently have filtered out of OddsJam. Like, you could do this all day and just make a ton of money. So more books is better. Sign up for all of them in your state. And you never know when the best arbitrage opportunities are going to occur. So I recommend checking the OddsJam arbitrage tool frequently. The more you look, the better. I currently have fast bets on. So this is just going to auto refresh the arbitrage tool. As lines get moved, it's going to bump those lines, kind of adjust. So you can see here, ProfitX and DraftKings, they also have this one-click bet feature. So I can just click this on DraftKings or ProfitX, and it's going to take me right to the wager. Same thing with BetMGM for Travis Kelce. If I click this link, it's going to take me right to the bet, make arbitrage betting super simple. All you need to do is, again, follow the arbitrage calculator, try to move quickly. So again, both of these have one-click bet. Load them both up, click, boom, go to the arbitrage calculator. How much do you want to bet on DraftKings? Maybe $500. This tells you, hey, bet 469.48 on the over on ProfitX, which is a new book available in basically every state. Maybe round your bet size to 470. You make a risk-free profit of $30. Do that as many times in a day as you can. You're on the path to making big profits arbitrage betting. So one thing I wanted to mention about arbitrage betting is there are pitfalls to arbitrage betting, honestly profitable sports betting in general. I see all the time people on social media, oh, you shouldn't be arbitrage betting. This specific arbitrage opportunity moved on me. Again, I kind of covered it earlier in the video, but if these plays are making you $10, $20, $30 risk-free, sometimes the odds are going to change. You're not going to be fast enough and able to get this arbitrage opportunity locked in. So you need to move faster. And also, you don't need a hit rate of 100%, right? Like, let's say you try to place 20 arbitrage bets in an hour. You only hit 10 of them, each one for $10 profit. That's $100 risk-free profit. That's not too shabby for an hour of work sitting at home just placing some bets. The second thing is I'll see people say, oh, this sports book, limited me. It only let me bet this amount of money on an arbitrage opportunity. You got to get creative. You got to be entrepreneurial and find workarounds to limits, right? Like, any sports book, if you're crushing them, it doesn't matter how you're crushing them with your own model, arbitrage betting, positive EV betting. If you make $2 million off of DraftKings, they're not going to let you bet $50,000 on whatever play you want to. Some sports books are going to try to limit you and cut down your bet sizes. And again, that's why it's important to use multiple sports books. The more books you have, more arbitrage opportunities. Long term, maybe some will cut down your max bet size, but that's just kind of part of the game. As a sharp sports bettor, it doesn't matter what strategy you're using. I mean, I've been limited on tons of sports books, hundreds of sports books at this point. And there's also new betting exchanges in the United States like Novig. These platforms, they're peer-to-peer betting sites. There's tons of arbitrage opportunities on Novig. That's a peer-to-peer betting exchange. Tons of arbitrage opportunities. You can make tons of money, and they have no betting limits. You can bet however much money you want. So long story short, this is risk-free money. Don't make excuses. Give it a try. There's going to be a bit of a learning curve. Some arbitrage opportunities, the odds will change on you. There may be some sportsbooks who cut down your max bet size, but if you put in the work, it's pretty easy. I mean, really easy in my opinion, to make thousands of dollars a month risk-free with arbitrage betting. So give it a try. I'll include a link below to OddsJam, a 7-day free trial of the OddsJam arbitrage tool. And as always, let me know any questions. You can comment them, you can email me, whatever. I love helping sports bettors beat the books. Arbitrage has been insanely profitable for me, made me hundreds of thousands of dollars, risk-free profit, risk-free. Crazy over the past, few years. So it's well worth the investment to kind of learn this strategy and how to do it. Thank you so much for your time.